Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. Evening Instagram. I think it's Tuesday night. I'm not 100% sure. I've sort of lost track of what day it is after being on holiday last week and having 12 days off work, but I think it is Tuesday night and it's 7:30. It's time for another episode Through the Garden Gate. Let's see if Jamie's still loitering around his veg garden.
I'm not.
Where have you? Oh, you've moved to your garden now.
Yeah, the flies are getting out already.
Oh no.
They don't normally turn up till about 9:15. They're there already. So no, I'm not. I wipe my camera. How are you, winner?
No, if I'd have had more time, I'd have grabbed my rosette, but I didn't. I was sat in the conservatory and I was like, hang on a minute, it's like 22 minutes past 7. I need to get a move on.
Yeah, because you've got about a 3-mile run to get down to your garden.
Exactly. I'm 1 hour after that.
Come on, what's that plant called? Say the name properly.
I think Kim got it pretty good, actually.
Did she?
Burkeia purpurea.
Burkeia?
Yeah.
Burkeia purpurea.
It rolls off the tongue quite nicely.
It does, yeah. Burkeia purpurea.
I was very pleased to give people an insight to a plant that they've not seen before, because quite a lot of people commented saying that they'd not heard of it or they'd not seen it before.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to introduce people to new plants.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Especially ones that I like so much as well.
Really nice. What got me was that iridescent shimmer.
It's almost very similar to like osteospermum.
Yeah.
They have that.
That's it. They do, yeah. Yeah. The white ones definitely, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, so well done, and well done to everybody who won. That was
some good entries. I'm sure you had a hard time actually picking who was going to be the winners.
That's ridiculous. I sat down. Obviously, we were looking through the week as they were coming through, but just not in detail because we were too busy sharing and making sure we've saved them, ready to go through them all. So yesterday afternoon at about 5 o'clock, I sat down and we started. I think we all must have sat down at the same time because the messages started flowing. It was just like bing bing. What about this? What about this? What about this?
Who are you going to choose?
We dwindled it down, and Catherine kept saying, "Well, I quite like this one. I quite like this one." So it was good fun. It was good, really good. But like we said, the main reason was for green fingers. We want to keep them in everybody's minds.
Definitely. Everybody needs to. It's such a great charity to raise money for.
Yeah,
there's none better. And I've seen firsthand where the money goes to. So it's a brilliant charity. So the more money I can raise for it and raise awareness of it, the better. Definitely.
So you've had a birthday this week.
I know. It's been a busy old week. I've been on holiday into Wales, like where I was last week when I was on the podcast, and then got home and it was birthday weekends.
Yeah.
Not just my birthday, but my wife's birthday as well.
I couldn't believe that. When I saw Steph's birthday was the next day, I went, what?
Crazy.
Yeah.
That was an interesting chat when we first got together. When's your birthday? Oh, mine's the day before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll do. That means we can always have a lovely birthday weekend.
Yeah, or a couple of days off if it's midweek.
Yeah, really nice.
I think Steph gets grumpy though because she's obviously second, so my birthday sometimes takes people come and see us both for my birthday and then they're not going to come round again for the next day. So she's
so they actually come to see you on your birthday and say, oh, yeah, come to see you as well tomorrow. So
we went out for breakfast with Steph's mum and dad on my birthday, and she didn't actually see her mum and dad on her birthday because they were at work.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's nice having it together because you can just, it's all in one. Then you can do
Yeah,
something special for both.
mine and Teresa's are actually 3 weeks exactly apart, so it's not too bad. Not too bad.
Right.
Yeah. We have to have a birthday month.
Yeah. Well, August is the birthday month with George's as well. So.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Did you time that?
Definitely not.
You try to get it so it's on both of yours.
I think it does seem to run in families though that birthdays seem to gravitate around the same sort of times.
Yeah.
Because in my mum's family, all of their babies all of her brothers are in April, which is really odd.
Yeah. Strange. What you did at work then? I've seen you've been mulching, or Chris has been.
Yeah, not a lot really. It was one of those days of sort of trying to get back into the flow of it and figure out, what needs doing, what Chris has been doing.
Yeah.
Trying to reacquaint myself with the garden after so long away. I mean, it was 12 days that I was off, which is quite a long time to be away from the garden, really.
Yeah.
So it was nice just to have a wander around. And
This time of year, 12 days, things can grow lots in 12 days.
yeah, the water and the lake and stuff needing watering and stuff needing deadheading and new plants putting in the veg garden, some peas in and some beetroot in today.
Pumpkins and squash can grow loads in 12 days.
Yeah, some of mine have actually started growing about a foot a day now, so finally starting to catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like yours.
I've got some which are bigger than my head. They're like that.
I mean,
Massive already.
they were a decent enough size when I was there probably a month ago now, isn't it? So I imagine they've grown a lot.
I made the mistake of trying to move one on the arch because it was. Can you remember last year when that Crown Prince got in between the? I've got one like that now, but I tried to move one yesterday because it was starting to, so I moved it, and then as I was walking around the other side, it went donk and fell on the floor.
Oh, it's too heavy.
Never mind. Yeah, it's because it was being supported. It didn't like it. But yeah, so I've really been doing a great deal. I've sown some more seeds, and like you say, beetroot and bits and bobs. It's not much to do really, is there? A little bit of weeding.
Yeah.
That's it really.
Harvest, really.
That's
now.
it, yeah. I think August is that month, isn't it? That it's,
keep on
mainly
tomatoes. My tomatoes are now growing over the roof.
Yeah. That's again. I had a good hour or so, couple of hours, week or so ago, trimming them all back, and they need doing again. They just grow foliage at such a rate; it's crazy.
Yeah, and they're starting to get ready to take some off now. You're starting to get loads at a time rather than just the odd one or two. It's like put it full at a time,
to happen,
which is good. Best time of year.
Yeah, definitely love it. Absolutely love it. I had my first proper crushed heart the other day. It was absolutely delicious. Can't beat it. I really think, unless any of these new ones I got this year are any better, but I think crushed heart's still my favourite. It's going to be.
I think
absolutely love them.
That honeycomb one is my favourite cherry tomato now. That one's so nice.
Yeah.
The nice little orange cherry tomato. It's so sweet. Really nice one, that.
I just want to warn you that my comments aren't working already.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
So two girls, one plot have said they have got bad blight already. So.
Oh no. That's just a nightmare. My worst nightmare in the world.
Yeah. Well, touch wood. I haven't had any more incidents since that one plant that I thought looked a bit iffy, and I think I just said sod it, let's have it out. I don't care if it's not. I'd rather have it out and be safer.
I think theirs are outside, aren't they? If I remember rightly from listening, all theirs are outside.
I think they're on an allotment site as well, so it tends to go.
That's going to be coming from every direction, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think they said if I remember on the podcast, they've said about potato blight. So if you've had potato blight, it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't believe my bloody comments. Ridiculous. Nothing on there. Not a single one.
It's because you've done 2 lives in the space of an hour.
That's just penalising me, isn't it?
I can't say. I'll try.
I can see the little question mark things. If anybody's got any questions, I'll see that pop up
Yeah.
for either us or for our guest. Yeah, put them in the little question mark. That might be easier if anybody's got any. But my actual garden is looking very neglected. I haven't touched it. I need to spend some serious time.
Mine's awful as well.
Really, really overgrown. My dahlias are taking so long. I've got a few dahlias out now. Oh, look at this one.
Ooh, that's odd. It almost looks like a St George's flag.
I know, yeah. Nice, isn't it?
It's really odd.
I don't think it's supposed to be like that.
Is that some kind of bacterial weirdness going on with
God knows. But yeah,
they have dahlia fire or whatever it is. That tulips.
Chickens eating apples. Yeah, it's just looking very tired now. I ain't really done anything for ages. It's just all going over. Lots of things need ripping out and standing up. I had it's just sad. I ain't had no time in the garden whatsoever. Oh dear.
No, mine's the same, to be honest. It's looking very bedraggled and dry, and every year it gets to this stage, and I think I must put more later interest stuff in, and then I forget, and then it all goes mad again, and then I'm like, oh, rubbish again.
Because it looks lovely, and then you think, oh, that looks lovely. I'll concentrate on other stuff, and then
it runs out of steam. The
time flies, and we're 27th of August. A few days will be September, and you're thinking, oh, should we just next year?
Yeah.
Next year, right?
And then it's all the excitement of spring, of sowing vegetables and tomatoes and cosmos and stuff, and then you forget again. But more asters would be good in my garden.
Yeah, I've got some actually. I could put in. I've got some little ones on that little table out the back. Could put them in, but I think I need to rip out so much before I can put them in.
Yeah.
Chuck us some questions, people. We'll try and answer them.
Yeah, grasses are good now as well. The grasses are starting to come into their own.
I've got no grass at all.
Miscanthuses are starting to put up their little feather dusters, which are nice crimson colour.
Isn't that?
Yeah, phlox are good.
Isn't the miscanthus the one that you have in the front garden if you swingers?
No, that's pampas grass.
Oh, pampas grass. How did you know that, Mark?
It's very well known that that used to be the thing. Pretty sure it's not anymore.
Oh, that's the massive ones, isn't it? Just
you have to set fire to them to control them.
Oh my god!
They're that. Once they get going, they can be huge. They can fill a bed, can't they? They're as wide as they are tall.
They used to be just in the centre, didn't they, with a lawn round them? Everybody used to have that as a centrepiece.
They probably started off as a nice flower bed, and then the pampas grass
just left it. I've had so Kim and I went to a place called Desert World a few weeks back. We went and saw Barry Gayton. You heard of Barry Gayton?
Yep.
So we went. We were lucky enough to be able. He invited us to go to his garden, and we had a walk around there. And I smelt as we walked through. I went, I recognise that smell, and it smelt a bit like, not that I've ever grown weed, but it smelt like weed.
All right.
Really, really strong and pungent. I said, I recognise that. And where we've been and stayed in Portugal a few times, round where the pool is, or the seating area, this smell is there, and it's so strong. And the woman whose villa it is, she said, "Oh yeah, we put that in because it gets rid of the mozzies. They don't like it." And I smelt this, and I said to Barry, "What is it?" And it was hanging in a big hanging basket, and he nipped me a bit off, and it was a plectranthus. Is it plectranthus?
That's familiar.
pee off, pee off or something.
Pee off.
Pee off.
Or was
I don't know.
he just telling you to pee off?
Yeah, probably. No, but he said that's what it was anyway. Well, anyway, he nipped me a bit off and gave me it, and I done 2 cut-ins. This was only 5 weeks ago, and the cut-ins are now at least
Oh, wow.
7, 8 inches tall.
That's amazing.
Brilliant. And they smell. The smell is just phenomenal. I love it.
Cleomes do smell of weed as well. Joe's right. Somebody just asked about grass. Are there any grasses you'd recommend that are safe for dogs? I'd say all grasses are safe for dogs. I can't see there's anything poisonous about.
I wouldn't have thought so, because my dogs eat normal grass all the bloody time.
Yeah. I'm not aware of any grasses being poisonous to dogs. Not in this country that I'm aware of.
I haven't heard of it, no. I know there are lots of different plants and things that are, but I haven't heard any grasses.
But yeah, miscanthus, calamagrostis, malinias, carex are nice little ones that are sort of evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dogs love eating grass, don't they?
Yes, stupid things.
And then throwing it up.
Yeah.
I'll fill.
Right there.
I've got a question. I'll answer some questions. The plant that won me the prize on the Garden Gram Gala was called Burkheya purpurea. Very nice ring to it. That was a question from Catherine. 2 girls, 1 plot have asked, are either of you using green manure, and have you done previously? So I have used it before at work. I used Phacelia before, and Phacelia is also a beautiful plant in general. I'd quite happily have that in a border, and it's a very nice meadow plant if you can get it growing in a meadow as well. But yeah, that's the only green manure that I've ever used, and I don't tend to use them at work. I just don't have the time to sow them really. I just sort of forget about the veg garden when it comes to autumn and concentrate on other matters. But I think there are certain green manures that work really well. Let's see. I'll show you my tomatoes whilst we're waiting. Lots on there. Beans would be a good one, because then you'll fix the nitrogen in the soil. That's not a bad shout. Take you off there and turn you around. So lots of tomatoes are ripening nicely. So if you do regularly tune into the podcast and hear the dog barking, the dog basically just posts his ball at my feet throughout the podcast, and then posts it to me. And if I don't throw it regularly, I get barked at. So if you regularly hear the dog barking throughout the podcast, that's the reason why. And then this one Joe was talking about last week when she was on the podcast, which is ananas that she sent me the seeds of. Some really nice big fruits on there now. And then at the end there, there's Black Beauty. And then over here, these ones are really nice shaped ones. This one's called Honeymoon. They're a really lovely shape, those ones. And then this ginormous one is Gigantamo. The size of that. Absolute beast of a tomato. And then the Garden Pearl ones are all scrambling nicely, starting to ripen up. And then these are the honeycomb ones that I was talking about earlier. Jamie's here, so let's get him back in. If I can get him back in. Stop rabbiting about my tomatoes. Hey.
She's in now.
Good work.
Yeah, she's there. Yeah, let's get our guest in, shall we?
Yeah. So tonight's guest is the host of a gardening podcast that has just celebrated its 300th. As well as being a garden designer who focuses on wildlife and environmental benefits as well as creating minimal impact to the natural world. The podcast always broadens my horizons, so she is here to drag ours up tonight. It's, of course, Sarah Wilson, the host of Roots and All podcasts.
There she is.
Hey.
Hello. Yay, made it. So hope my camera doesn't fall over.
Have you balanced it?
I have balanced it, yeah. I don't do this sort of thing very often, so I've got a makeshift. I've literally got a pen pot with it sitting on top of. So. Yeah, I just can't nudge the desk.
Don't touch it because that'll just.
Nice bit. Heath Robinson.
Yeah.
Definitely. We've all done that until I bought one of these tripod thingies.
Well, you're professional, see?
I wouldn't say that.
Come on. Says the lady who's got 300 episodes of a podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. Quantity doesn't necessarily mean quality, although, you know, I can't say that because mine is mainly guests talking, so they're what make it good.
So 300, I've only listened to. I only found you about 6 weeks ago, which is crazy because I listen to podcasts every day, gardening podcasts all day, every day, because I work majority of myself on my own. So I listen to them like Mark does. But you've only popped up about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah. Podcasts are funny things, aren't they? I mean, I listen to podcasts a lot, but I don't listen to any gardening ones. But yeah, I don't know whether you get like stuck in a certain kind of pathway with what gets suggested, and then you know, you don't notice some of the ones that are out there. But yeah, well, thank you though. I've been doing it a while, so they've built up.
Yeah. What I was most excited about is that 300. You've got a back catalogue of 297. 96 I can go through now. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. I love that about if you find a podcast that's got loads of back episodes and you're like, yes, this will keep me going for ages.
It is brilliant, yeah. This is really weird, to be honest, because normally when we listen to your podcast, all we hear is your voice. We don't see you. So it's like when you see a radio presenter, isn't it? On you see him on the TV and you think, I recognise that voice, but I've never seen the face before.
Yeah. I met Jane Perrone and I kept looking at her going like this, and I said to her, I can't match your face with your voice. It's really throwing me. So yeah, it is weird because I think you build up a picture of someone in your mind's eye, don't you? And then they never look like what you've imagined. So yeah, very odd.
Do you listen to the Garden Organic podcast? Do you, Mark? You must do.
Yeah.
But did you see that they put a post on Instagram the other day about they've had 1 million downloads or something? And it was the three. I can't remember the names, but I know Chris was one of them. And they were talking, and I was thinking, oh my God, it's just really strange because I can see their faces. And it's exactly that. It's just so weird.
It is weird. Yeah.
So let's talk about gardening. So you are a gardener, professional gardener.
Yep.
Where did that come from? How did that come about then?
Well, I used to work in an office job, and I didn't like it very much, and I don't think it was very good for me at the time. So I got to the point where I got quite sort of desperate to career change, and yeah, that was it really. I just plucked gardening out the air because I loved doing it and I was no good at it. So I thought, well, you know, let's go and try and learn a bit about this. And that was it. I was off to the races. Then there was no stopping me. I just kind of fell in love with it and did everything garden related for years and years and years. And yeah, so that was it. So it's kind of like, I can't even say it's my second career because I've had lots of weird and wonderful jobs, but yeah, it's my second kind of main career, I suppose.
How long ago was that when you changed career?
It was about 2009-ish. So I moved out of London and came down to East Sussex and just started like volunteering, and then I got some paid jobs and yeah, went from there.
That's a big step, isn't it? And there's lots of people do it, and lots of people I hear talk about it, but don't do it because if that's all you know, like myself, I would love to do it. I'd love to, but all I know is be an electrician, and it's the money thing. A lot of it's the money thing for me. You need that money that you've lived on for however long, and you know,
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I've got a podcast coming out on Monday, and it's with somebody who listens to my podcast and has been on the show before. And he made the leap from being a solicitor, a very sort of successful one, and he had the same dilemma, but he did actually make the plunge, and he's now working in horticulture, and he's doing it really well, and he's making it pay. And I think that, he's very sort of methodical, very, very smart about the way he goes about things. Obviously, very good businessman, but also really principled. And I think he's just, he's making a go of it, which is really very kind of heartening if that is what you're planning on doing. Just to know that there are people out there doing it and making it make money, and they're, he's getting a lot of satisfaction out of doing it. So yeah, but it is a big decision. It really is.
yeah. It's huge. Oh, that'd be good to listen to then if that's out on Monday. I'll look out for that. That'd be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Mm.
So you're a professional gardener, but you're not like Mark. You're not on an estate, are you? You go around and you've got lots of different customers.
Well, I don't anymore. No, I run a charity that does horticultural therapy. So I kind of oversee we've basically got about 5 acres that we actually garden. So I
Oh,
oversee
wow.
it now, but I'm not so much out in the garden doing practical stuff. I'm more behind the desk doing fundraising and all the other fun paperwork stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
don't really have clients now.
How do you feel about that then? You don't actually get out into the garden much.
Well, I mean, I love it when it's raining and cold. I'm quite happy. I'm happy as Larry. Other times, um, I don't I don't actually miss it that much, funnily enough. Because at the moment, it's a refreshing change to go back to doing the sort of desk stuff.
Yeah.
However, I did actually work on Sunday, and we've just taken over a little garden centre space near us for the charity, and I spent about an hour deadheading pansies, and I felt really happy, and I was like, oh, actually I'd forgotten how much I like this fiddling around with flowers. But it's very difficult, it's very different when you're in an environment where, especially where I am, where there are lots of people in the garden doing stuff, and I tend to be a bit of a control freak. So it's like, if I can't do it my way, then I tend to just go a bit, oh, like I can't even look because it's not being done how I want it to be done. So
Yeah.
yeah, I am a control freak, and so I tend to be hands off if I can't control everything to the nth degree, which is something I have to deal with, obviously. So I probably would be better just pottering around in my own garden or being the sole gardener in a garden. Otherwise, I tend to just be a bit, want to be a bit more hands off.
Yeah. I can understand that. Yeah, really, really can. So what? So the 2009, did you say you went into actually being a gardener?
Mm.
What experience did you have of gardening before that then?
Didn't have any. What I did was I decided that that was the route I wanted to go down. So I did my horticultural RHS qualifications via
Okay.
correspondence, and I just kind of threw myself into the book learning side of it. So I didn't have any practical experience, but I was learning an awful lot
Mm.
through doing that course. I think it was called level 2 then. I don't know what it's called now, but yeah, I did, because I like book learning. I'm a bit of a bit of a nerd when it comes to sort of reading and writing and that sort of thing. So that was how I got into it really, and then managed to get out and actually apply it in a practical situation. But it gave me a good grounding.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So with that level two, do you not have to do any practicals? You don't have to go to an RHS
If
garden and
you can do it all without doing the exams, and the practical is the exam part. I mean, if you went to
ah,
college, you'd be doing the practical stuff alongside the theoretical learning stuff. But if, as I did it via correspondence, yeah, I just did all the kind of theoretical stuff. It might
oh,
have changed
brilliant.
now. I mean, like I said, we are going back a while, but
Because obviously that's another thing I thought about, learning first and then going on. But yeah, but to go to actually have time off work to go into colleges or gardens to do the exams, just seems not a possibility. But yeah, you can just do all the actual all the bookwork and the paperwork and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably, I was talking to it's Dave who's in the podcast on Monday. I was saying to him about imposter syndrome, and I think if you kind of wait until you feel like you know enough, you'll just you'll never get on and do something. You probably know more than the majority of gardeners who are operating in your area. Given your kind of experience. So yeah, I think there is an element of sometimes you have to take the plunge, really.
Yeah.
I still get
There was.
syndrome now, and I've been in horticulture since I was 15.
Yeah, exactly. You never stop learning.
No, and not with this. There's such a wide spectrum of stuff that you could know in horticulture. You're never going to know all of it, and anybody that thinks they do don't.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I suppose I think I've spoke to Mark about it before. I'm in a position where I could possibly do a day here and a day there because I work for myself anyway, so I could slow down one and maybe start to ramp up the other. But yeah, I think I might do. I'll see. So what garden have you got at the moment? You've got a garden at home, an allotment, or
No, I've got a garden at home. It's terrible, awful, messy, really bad. I can't even look out the window at it. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, so my garden is like cobbler's children, isn't it? They never get shod. So yeah, that's my garden. It's a mess. But the garden at work is quite nice. It's a little bit wild around the edges, but then I like that. So yeah, I don't mind a bit of a messy garden. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, I was just saying to Mark while we were waiting for you to come in. My actual garden is just I haven't touched it since the spring, and at a certain point it looked absolutely beautiful, but now you think, oh God, it looks awful. It needs a lot of work. A good weekend, ripping stuff out and moving stuff, but there's too much else to be doing.
Well, I know, and in a way, I think that's another. I wouldn't say I've like kind of fallen out of love with gardening. I haven't, but what I've fallen out of love with is doing it in the way that I kind of learned how to do it, and that I used to do it, and that is, trying to control everything. And I think now where I'm at is looking at ways to let it develop without it driving me mad every time I look at it, and without it, engulfing my house, but also so that I can be more hands off. And I don't feel like I'm constantly waging a war with it. And that's the bit I don't like, where I feel like it's just a battle between me and all the things that want to come in that I don't want in. And I don't, that's not sitting comfortably with me at the moment. Although I do like the control element, I don't want to spend my life trying to kind of beat back the weeds and things. It's just, there's, like you say, there's other things to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So have you got a veggie plot in your garden, or
not in my garden? No, we do a lot of veg at the farm. Yeah.
That's my main thing. So I can sit in my veggie garden all day, every day. That's just my place.
Yeah, I have to say, I now walk round and think, why did you put that there? Why didn't you put something there that you can eat? Which is a very, very different kind of what. Again, it's a total turnabout for me, because I used to say, I don't know why I'd ever bother growing food, because I'd just go down the supermarket and buy it. And I like flowers, and I do love flowers. Don't get me wrong, but now I look and I think, if I could find a flower that I like the look of, but that I can also eat, I'm actually much more about that now as well, because I think it's really important to grow food.
And there's loads of vegetables you can easily put into an ornamental garden, and they would sit really well.
Yeah.
Loads of beautiful chards and etc. that look fantastic in an ornamental garden.
Yeah.
Do you spread a bit of veggies about, Mark, in yours?
I haven't done, but I think it's definitely something that I'm going to start moving more into, having the vegetables spread throughout the garden rather than just all in one place. And even the same in the veg garden, putting more ornamental stuff in there as well as vegetables, so it's not just like straight lines of vegetables and just mixing it all together, because I think it creates a much nicer environment. It almost feels like a farm if you just have vegetables everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks lovely, and I do like it when it's all nice and regimented, because maybe that's my thing. I like them all nice and straight lines, and it looks beautiful. But then when you start pulling the lettuce out, whatever, that all gets jumbled up anyway. You've got gaps and missing bits and things gone to seed and etc. So it doesn't really matter, does it? So you might as well spread them about a bit.
Yeah, I very much garden in that way. I just pile everything in together, and it drives everyone here mad because, if they want to go and harvest stuff, there'll be, I don't know, something like a couple of carrots poking out between a load of dahlias or something, and they'll be like, "Why have you put those there?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. They just had a tiny little bit of space, and it looked nice." And so yeah, no, I'm not very organised in that way either. I don't do rows, and I don't do, neat veg gardening at all.
Yeah, that's what I do. Let's talk about the podcast then, because we did talk about it a little bit earlier, but it is very successful, obviously, because you're now 300 episodes. So what made you even start doing a podcast?
I mean, probably people are sick of me telling the story, but when I started gardening, I was doing a lot of work on my own in gardens, and I used to just stick my headphones in, and like I said, I was just mad for everything gardening, and I wanted to suck up all the information I could, and podcasts were a really good way of doing that. But a lot of them at that time were coming out of the States. There were hardly any, UK gardening podcasts, and so that you had Gardener's Question Time, and you had a few others, like Gardens Illustrated released a series that was good, but there was really not a lot. And Gardener's Question Time used to just drive me up the wall. I'd listen to it, and they'd be like, people would phone in and say, "Oh, I've got a problem with this," and they'd be like, "Oh, what you want to do is spray it," and I'd be like, "No, no, no, you don't want to spray everything." And this was probably around about sort of 2013, 14.
Yeah.
And I thought there's got to be a better way. There's got to be better advice, but there wasn't. And I thought, do you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to do it myself. And I did, and that was it. And I started out doing it just chatting into a microphone, which I hated. I really don't like. I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't like just speaking off the cuff. And so that kind of quickly went to the wall. And I decided that I would just get guests on who were experts on things and talk to people who were doing gardening in a way that wasn't necessarily kind of promoted on the likes of Gardener's Question Time, and it wasn't, top of the kind of, pile when it came to being an information source. So I just sought out people who were a little bit maybe quieter voices, but doing things in a way that I liked, and it just went from there.
So where did you find them then? If there wasn't any more podcasts, was it all off Instagram or Facebook or something?
Find what, the guests?
Your guests, yeah.
Yeah, well, I did a lot of reading. I don't do so much nowadays, but I was reading an awful lot, and gardening magazines. I was going to talks. I was just very involved in the gardening world. I did a diploma at the London College of Garden Design, so I was kind of, being lectured by really top-notch people. And I just went to anything and everything, and whatever piqued my interest, I kind of tracked that person down and then asked them to be on.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, the I don't know how many I've listened to, probably 6 or 7 different ones, and there is a wide range of guests you have on there. Even one of them I was really interested in was how to hire a gardener. It was, I think it was way back, and I can't remember what the lady was called, but some of the
Claire.
things she was saying, just brilliant. But who would think of that? That as a subject for a podcast, because it's not only other gardeners like us listening to them. It's it's a general public who want to have a gardener. So, but something like that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And that is a very interesting point, actually. Just wanted to say thank you to the person in the comments who I kind of interact with occasionally for their lovely comment. But yeah, that's I think when I started the podcast, what I wasn't sure about was to whether I should try and appeal to kind of consumers or whether I should appeal to other like gardening professionals. And I think that through a process of evolution, I ended up targeting gardeners and professionals rather than hobby gardeners, because I tend to like to dig into stuff, and I think maybe I'll go a little bit more in depth than just somebody who wants to look after their houseplants well. I probably don't cater for them particularly well. But I do like to put myself in the position of somebody who doesn't necessarily know much about the subject. So I sometimes ask questions that are, on the face of it, for somebody in my position, probably a bit simplistic. But I like that. I like to kind of think, well, if I didn't know much and I was wanting to know about the subject, what would I ask? So yeah, I think it's key for me to get out information that is useful to people rather than just chatting, and kind of glossing over stuff.
Yeah, because you're not asking for yourself, really. You're asking for everybody who might be listening.
Yeah.
You definitely do that. It definitely opens a lot of eyes into subjects that I've never even thought about, really. And then, and that's the thing about not having the celebrity guests on. You don't look at the podcast description and go, oh, well, I've heard of them, so I'm going to listen to it. It's every week is a surprise what that person is going to put across, what subject they're going to talk about. And it's just so brilliant to hear so many different things and, open my eyes to stuff that I've, not even looked into before. And there's so many times on your podcast that, I've gone away and then had to do more research into a specific subject because of, not knowing enough about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of my really interesting guests are in the States as well. They're doing stuff quite differently. So it's nice to have that sort of international, base of guests as well, because there's no rhyme or reason. I've got one episode recorded that's going out on Monday. I've got nothing recorded after that. I'm now sitting here going, okay, well, let's just hope that we have an episode for the following Monday, but it might not happen. I've got a few irons in the fire, a few people to talk to, but I have no idea what will be going out. But I like that because something can kind of catch my interest, and I'll be like, oh, I'll go down that route. And so I'm going to the Beth Chatto Symposium tomorrow, and I know there's going to be lots of interesting people there, so I might get some content there. But yeah, I like it, although it scares me a little bit because nobody pays me to do the podcast. I've got some very generous patrons, but beyond that, that's there's nothing that comes in terms of money. So there's nobody relying on me, to provide them with a platform or advertising coverage or anything like that. But personally, I feel that obligation to put the content out on a regular basis. So the pressure is kind of on me from me. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. It's very, very up in the air.
It's nice to listen to a podcast without adverts, because I think sometimes now some of the ones that I listen to, I think, oh my god, it's too much. And I know they have to earn money because some of them are big budgets and they're all done in studios, etc., etc. But sometimes you think, oh my goodness, it's just constant.
I know. It's made me stop listening to some of my favourite podcasts.
Yeah.
I can't be doing with it. It's just not. It's not what the format was about when it started, and it's not the format that I kind of fell in love with. And yeah, it is off-putting. I mean, I maybe slot one in at the beginning and the end, but the ones that just keep cutting in, oh yeah, it's not good. And I like the fact that I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't have to, follow anyone's agenda.
Watch what you say.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of the ones I think who slot them in several through the whole podcast are American ones, I noticed.
Yeah,
but they
you're
are
right.
they're big on ads, aren't they, over there for TV and everything? So
yeah. I mean, their TV is just unbelievable, isn't it? With the ads,
constant.
It's eye-opening when you go to America and see how much advertising is on their television. It's absolutely it's nuts. And even when you're on programming, they've got like sidebars with adverts on as well. So it's constant bombardment of advertising.
Yeah.
But of course, the BBC ones over here have all got adverts in, and that's really strange because the podcasts and anything to do with that iPlayer and all things like that, and nothing to do with the license fee. Apparently, I heard. So, and they've started just putting so many adverts, mainly at the beginning and at the end, which is not too bad. but it's just a pain in the backside.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there has to be a way of monetizing podcasts that's not extremely irritating to the listeners, but not many people seem to have tapped into it yet. I guess you need kind of like a membership, or you need a product to sell off the back of your podcast. If you've got all of that, then you're probably better equipped to make money. But I don't have any of that, and I'm not sure I've got the energy to do it either. So yes, I shall keep thinking on that one.
Mm. So do you just record at home through Zoom for most of yours?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do more in person before COVID. That was kind of my main thing, was going out and seeing people, which was lovely. But again, you're out of pocket doing that. You've got to take a whole day, and you've got to travel, and so Zoom's very easy, it's very quick. But I do still like the ones where I go and chat to people.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's just sitting there on a bench in a garden chatting about it. It was just fantastic.
Yeah, I've had access to interesting people and interesting places. It's been a lovely thing to do, and people are like unbelievably generous with their time and their information. It always surprises me in a nice way how I'll just, I don't think I can think of probably about three people who I've asked and have just and said no, not because they don't want to do it, but just because they're too busy. They're just way too busy. But that everybody else has been just fine, I'll do it. That they don't even ask any questions about how many people listen, or they're just like that's fine.
We get the same, to be honest. Like, it's very rare that somebody says no. Most of the time it is, I'm happy to come in and talk to you, which is wonderful, because that's the way it should be. There shouldn't be gatekeepers of anything. People should, knowledge is nothing if you don't share it.
Yeah, I think gardening people are, maybe particularly generous.
Yeah.
But
I was
they're a good
just about
bunch.
to say that exactly the same. The garden gram, we get a lot of ours off Instagram, Mark, don't we? And the garden gram, as the whole, 99.9% of them are absolutely fantastic people, and they will give you, as much time or as little time as you want. They're brilliant.
Yeah, we're lucky.
So, have you ever recorded an episode and not put it out for any reason?
Oh,
I did it once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I won't name any names, but it was just like pulling teeth, and it was really it was bizarre. It's and the person had a book to promote, and I just couldn't get anything usable off it. I don't know whether they were nervous, or I don't know. Just they kind of said it. Maybe, I don't know. They said about like 2 words to every question, 2-word answers, and and I couldn't salvage it, sadly. Yeah.
Well, that's nice that out of 300 episodes you've only had one of those.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Some have had some interesting editing.
I was just about to say that you edit, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I don't now, actually. I have a lovely man called Pete who edits for me, and he's fantastic. And I've got him, I don't know why he agreed to do it, because he's like, he's really top notch, but I'm delighted that he did. And he's so good. But yeah, I only ever had one other that I really had to.
Oh, Moss.
Oh.
Sorry, the dog was just chewing the light bulb.
Don't do that.
The string of lights has fallen down, and he just had one in his mouth. Oh my God, it's gonna be a heart attack.
Electrified dog.
Oh dear.
I thought it was a real moth.
Oh dear.
Never work with children and animals.
Oh dear. Sorry, Sarah. Carry on.
Yeah, no, I was just saying there was one person who was a bit sort of reticent, and really clearly didn't want to be on the podcast, and we had to edit that one down, but it turned out all right in the end. So, yeah. They were a tricky one. But no.
So how long are you have you got a set time? Are you 30 minutes? I can't quite remember. Are you trying to snip everything to try and get that set time?
No. I'm not at all. I'm just rubbish at it. The whole thing. I don't know why I ever started it. To be honest, I break everything that's technology related. I don't do anything that I'm supposed to do in terms of keeping it to times. I go off piste. So no, I mean, I say to people that it's going to be around about 30 minutes, and sort of tend to stick to that. But some you'll see are like 22 minutes, some are 38.
Yeah.
If someone's happy to chat, then I'm happy to listen,
Yeah.
and also I'm mindful of people's time, so I don't kind of keep them too long. But no, there's not any hard and fast rules. It should be around 30 minutes, but it's not normally.
That's the good thing about podcasts, though, isn't it? Because there's no
is
time
no
slot. It can go whenever. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah. I don't think I'd want to go much over that. I think you might lose people. I'm not sure, but I've never tested it out either. If I was sensible, I probably would have put out episodes different lengths and seen what the sort of drop off rate was and all of that. But I am, as I say, not that savvy. So
Well, so ours, this is what you're now. We don't edit at all. It goes out as is, warts and all.
Well,
I
apart
believe.
from when Jamie says things that he shouldn't be saying, but
What do you mean? You edit my swears out?
yeah, sometimes your inappropriate comments.
Ah! It's horrendous. I didn't know you did that.
Minimal editing.
Off piste are the best bits. Yeah, that's the thing. It's sometimes when you do go off piste, you can just get some amazing information come in.
yeah. Yes, you are right, Ronnie. Off piece, still the best bits. Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel I'm not a natural kind of speaker. I'm not gifted. I'm not very good at ad-libbing, so I tend to be a little bit scared of things running away too much. Although, I'm happy to, if someone starts kind of going on a tangent, I'm quite happy to follow it normally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I certainly don't
Yeah, that's the
have a
thing.
big reel of outtakes or anything. What you hear is pretty much what we recorded. There's not a lot of tinkering goes on, to be honest.
Right. Do you do lots of research on your guests beforehand, or just let it happen?
If they've got a book that we're talking about, I will read the book cover to cover religiously. I don't tend to look up people too much. I'll do a little. I will do research, but I don't then go. I don't listen to them on other podcasts because I'm not interested in what they've said anywhere else. I want to come to it kind of new.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you have to strike a balance between doing too much research into someone and allowing yourself that freedom to explore things that maybe other people have asked and seeing if you get a different answer.
Yeah.
It's
There's only
definitely
so much
sometimes.
research you can do when you're doing one a week anyway. Time is limited.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know about that.
Mm.
But sometimes when you've heard the same guests, more of the famous ones, you hear them on 2 or 3 podcasts, and you can almost tell that some of them have listened to it because it's near enough repeated.
Mm.
And you think, try and go somewhere else, but it is what
Yeah.
it is. I'm just going to turn that light on.
I mean, mine may well repeat others, but I wouldn't know because I don't listen to any of them.
But no, I'm not saying. But that's no. What I mean is they've gone on there and almost written down what's been said, type thing. To
yeah. Well, that would be very poor form, wouldn't it? Yeah. No.
Yeah, no good at all. No good. Oh bloody hell! So 300. Any limit, or are you just going to keep going and going until you get bored, or?
Yeah, I'm going to keep going and going until I get bored. Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm not showing any signs of stopping
No.
yet. I want to do more with it, honestly, because it is, I'm not one of those people that blows their own trumpet in any way, shape, or form, and I'm very uncomfortable with kind of praising myself. But it is good, and I like it, and I know people like the podcast, and so I kind of owe it to the podcast and the people who listen to do more with it, and I'd like to do more with it, so that I will, I keep threatening. I just need to work out. I need a little bit of breathing space. I've had a lot going on personally, and I need a bit of breathing space just to sit down, kind of put a few ideas, kick a few ideas around and see where it goes. And yeah, ultimately, I need to make it pay, and I need to, expand it and do it in a way that I'm going to be happy, because that's the holy grail, I suppose, isn't it? Do what you love and get paid for it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. No, I do. Otherwise, I might as well stop. In all honesty, it's got to the point where it's grown and grown and grown that I feel that I do need to do something with it. Like I went to the podcast show earlier in the year, and there were a couple of networks that talked about taking it on, but I don't know if that's a direction that I want to go in. I don't want to lose that control over it that I have. I don't want to feel like I'm answerable to anyone. So if that is the case, and I don't want to be working with other people, then I need to do it my own way and make it happen.
I guess if you did that, that's when the adverts would start being added in, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have the control of what the adverts were either as well.
No, exactly. And there are ways I could do it. There's loads of garden products that I use that I love, and I would quite happily, advocate for them. So, maybe that's the way forward, is to actually approach the people that I really do like and buy into and say, do you want to work together? I haven't done any of that yet because it all takes time and it's something that doesn't come naturally to me. Talking about money, I'm like, oh no. But, I really need to get over that at some point.
I suppose it would come better if it was you actually talking about it, not a set advert which was blocked in. If you started with all this, and this, and then carried on with your podcast, I think that would sit better with me and maybe other people, than this set advert.
Yeah. But again, I mean, I suppose it's, there's lots and lots of things that I need to do, which is one of the first ones would be to work out who my audience is. And like I said, I suspect it is more professional gardeners and, design professionals, landscape architects listen, I know, but I'd have to do, I think, a bit more research into that in order to know what they might want to buy. So there's kind of all of that good stuff that I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll look out for that in the future.
Mm.
I think seeing how we are called Through the Garden Gate, we better talk about some gardening.
Yeah, I'm out. I've forgotten how to do it, to be honest with you.
Because I could sit and talk about actual podcasts and all that all night, but the people who are watching normally come listen to us talking about gardening.
One of the good sections I used to really enjoy on your podcast was Dr. Ian Bedford.
Oh, I love him.
His little snippets at the end were brilliant.
Yeah, I know. He just stopped doing them. Bless him. If anyone's listening and they know any entomologists, I'd love to have someone like that again.
He had some serious knowledge of all sorts of random stuff, didn't he? He was brilliant.
He really did. Yeah. No, he's brilliant. But those snippets will live forever on the in the back catalogue. So
he's brilliant.
It's nice that we had him when we did.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Ian. I know Ian personally, not really well.
Oh, do
but
you?
Yeah. He's not far because I'm in Norfolk, see, so he's Norwichy way, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. I was thinking about trying to get him on here, but he hasn't got Instagram, so he can't come and do an Instagram live.
Oh. Yeah, I used to contact him through Twitter, actually, thinking about it, and email, but
yeah. It's always Twitter, yeah. Oh, so what he used to come on and give little the snippets just about.
He used to do the end, didn't he? He used to do like a random animal fact at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he actually recorded them for a Toby Buckland show. I think it might have been on BBC Radio Devon, and then they very kindly let me use them after he'd broadcast them. So that's how I ended up with them.
Okay, so it wasn't. Oh, I get you. So he didn't come on and talk to you.
No, he just sent me the clips, and he'd already pre-recorded them, and they were brilliant. He's such a talent.
Oh, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I've been to a couple of his talks, and it's just phenomenal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he's got a brilliant voice.
Yeah, yes, really good voice.
Yeah,
And he's another man that you wouldn't put his face to his voice. It's
no,
No.
crazy.
that's true.
So you did an episode where you were interviewed. I think it was quite early on. It was probably after 100 or so episode. You got one of your listeners to interview you,
Mm.
and one of the questions was, what one thing would you change about horticulture? And I'm just wondering whether your answer has changed.
Mm.
I mean,
What was the
I've got no
answer
idea.
originally?
I was going to say
The,
I've got no idea what I said.
so the original answer was about pesticide
Well,
in horticulture,
I mean,
and it probably hasn't changed.
I was going to say, yeah, I've already brought that up, so that clearly is a thing. Well, I don't know. I think the tides have turned a little
I
bit, so
think
maybe that
publicly
wouldn't be.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that might not be the hill I want to die on now. To be honest, I might change it. What would I change about horticulture? I think I always say this. If you ask me this question every day for the next 6 years, you'd get a different answer because
Yeah.
A, I can never remember what I've said, and B, I'm like unbelievably like changed like the weather. So having spoken to Dave for the interview that goes out on Monday, I think what I would change about horticulture is actually the fact that it's really not valued as a profession and not adequately rewarded, and the training isn't there, and the respect isn't there for it as a profession. And I think I would change that now.
I 100% agree. There's not
Oh,
enough.
yeah.
People don't value gardening anywhere near enough. It should be considered a highly skilled job, and it just isn't.
It is a highly skilled job, isn't it? You think about it. I was at a customer's the other day, and they've had someone who says he's a landscape gardener, stroke builder, stroke whatever, and they've ripped up God knows how many of their plants, but they're paying him £25 an hour, and I'm thinking, what? So to me, and then I said to them, I said, "What, you're paying him 25?" I didn't think gardeners got that kind of money. She said, "We'll pay it for a decent gardener." So that started being ping, ping, ping. For me, but it is a real skilled job. I've only been gardening for 4 years, and I know that already.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and you have to know so much about so many different things as well. That yeah. I mean, it's daft. It just isn't rewarded at all, is it? It's crazy. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Who's that commenting there? Is that Ella? Oh no, that's Dave. Hello, Dave. Yeah, so he's right. Dave's right, because when people come along that do know what they're doing, and that people will pay that money. I used to earn absolute fortunes in London gardening, and I can charge it down here now because there's a dearth of good gardeners. So actually, it's probably the perfect time to get into garden if you can do it.
Mm.
You have to kind of do it sensibly in terms of looking after your physical health, I think, and all the rest of it. But yeah, there are definitely it would definitely pay now. Would round my way anyway.
Mm. Yeah, let's go back to that one episode that I said about earlier about the employing a gardener. Some of the things on there that what was her name? You said it earlier. I can't remember what you said her name was. Some of the things on there she was saying that some people might be charging £10 an hour, but some people might want to charge £25 an hour. But it's not always the person who wants to charge the most. But then vice versa. You've got to think if someone's charging £10 an hour, you can't live on £10 an hour.
No.
It's such a wide range that you've got to realise.
Yeah. Well, not only can you not live on it, you can't operate a business in a kind of proper manner
No,
on that money
no,
either. And
no.
especially not the way that the government have, I think personally hamstrung small businesses and made it very difficult for them to operate profitably and in a kind of streamlined, efficient way. yeah, you have to factor all these costs in.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna have to really think about that seriously soon.
Well, yes, perhaps you should message Dave.
I think I will. Dave,
Yeah.
just follow me, Dave, and I'll talk to you later. I'll definitely
You a
listen on
message.
Monday, but I'll listen. I'll have a chat about it because if you've made the leap already, yeah, I think I'll have to. But then that's a different thing. Like what Mark's doing, he's going to get a job as a gardener on an estate or a large garden. That's a completely different thing again, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, you see these jobs are advertised on estates, and the salaries that they're offering are just insulting.
Mm.
And Mark will be super talented and qualified and educated in what he does. And, I hope he's kind of, adequately rewarded. But a lot of these places don't. And it's just assumed that I don't know, is it assumed that you're doing it for the love of it? But, you have got a short career in horticulture, a lot of people, because of the toll that it will take on you physically. And you don't have the sort of, in retirement benefits that you would have in other jobs necessarily. So yeah, they need to start rewarding people properly. But then I think you need to decide what a garden is for, because if it is just ornamental, then it's a luxury, and you need to decide whether you want to properly pay to maintain what is essentially just an indulgent kind of space. And that opens up a whole other can of worms, I guess. But do we need to make our gardens work more for us in order for them to be slightly, in a way, kind of profitable, or generate some sort of return so that we can reward the people that work in them properly? I don't know. It's a big question.
I think that's the problem. In my situation, I work at a private estate that it's just one family that own it. So for them to put in a lot of money to pay gardeners to maintain it, it's not sustainable the way the garden was set up in the first place. Whereas at least places like the National Trust and the RHS, they've got income coming in from the gardens. If they didn't have these beautiful gardens, they wouldn't have any income coming in. So those sort of places should definitely be paying people a fair wage.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a few years ago, which probably going back 5 or 6 years ago now, that even a job at Buckingham Palace was a very poorly paid job, considering it's in London.
Yeah.
Even the Queen.
Yeah. I know. It's almost exploitative. I don't know why it's not better paid. Well, I suppose, it's got a bad rap. And, I think gardening is, I don't like the word gardening necessarily, or gardener, because I think that it just confers, hobby gardening, or somebody who potters around at home. And, to call those two, professional gardener and somebody who gardens at home the same term, for me, is not great PR. I think we might need to rebrand a little bit, and I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
But we need to take the whole kind of discipline a lot more seriously.
But that's the thing. Like I think Dave said in one of his comments a little while ago, for somebody to walk up and down cutting lawns and cutting hedges all day is different than someone who knows what's going on in that bed and can pick through and knows what to deadhead and what to weed out and what to put in where. That could be a whole different scale, couldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose, if you want, mass produced clothing, and you're not that worried about where it comes from, then you go to Primark. But if you want something that's a bit better made, then you shop wherever, somewhere, designer. But and I guess that's the same with gardening. People should have the choice to go with the gardener that they want. But I don't think the education is there amongst the general public to understand what a good gardener is, and what they're capable of doing, and why that's important, and why it's worth paying a little bit more. And that's the problem. People are used to getting gardening done cheap, and it's not. Yeah, we need to think about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and why we should charge more for it, and publicize that to people. Say this is the benefits of using me, in terms of the environment, in terms of sustainability, in terms of the long-term health of your garden, all those things. But I suppose until until we educate people more about what is behind gardening, then I don't know if that's going to be that easy to do.
Yeah, Dave and Joe both have said, near enough exactly the same times, they call themselves horticulturalists, not just gardeners, which is a good thing, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, because a gardener, cutting the grass and being a horticulturalist is completely different. Yeah, totally agree, Joe. But that's the person that was at that one of my clients the other day. All he does was cut lawns and hedges, but he was charging nearly £25 an hour, and he ripped out. She said, "Oh, can you do weeding and the bed?" And he just absolutely decimated it. So
Yeah, I mean, there are people who cut grass and who do it beautifully.
yeah,
One of my old clients has someone come in and cut her grass, and she has experts come in and cut her hedges, and has experts come in and cut her topiary, and she has a different person do each of these things because they are excellent at it. So I don't want to knock people who cut grass at all, because there are some really good people who cut grass. But again, it's like if maybe we as kind of horticulturists are knocking people who cut grass, maybe we don't understand the whole thing behind cutting grass. There's that education again, isn't there? We all need to be aware of what everybody does, what everybody's capable of doing, and what it looks like when it's done at a really high level, and why that should be justly rewarded.
Yeah, definitely.
It's almost like putting everyone in one box. Somebody that works at Wembley making the grass look fantastic wouldn't be able to come to the garden where I work and do the same thing, because it's a completely different job, even though they'd probably still be described as a gardener. We're not the same, even in the same ballpark.
No. I mean, I can cut grass, and I have done it, but I didn't do it in my jobs. It wasn't part of my, wasn't really a service I offered. So, yeah, I suppose all these things need to be recognised.
I guess if you want to go and do domestic gardens for people, that will be part of it. That if they want their garden done, they want their lawns doing and their hedges, and so you've got to be willing to do all of it. You can't just pick and choose.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick and choose, I think, if you don't want the sort of volume of work. When you're starting out, I think most people tend to do a bit of everything, and then they refine it as they go along.
Figure out what they actually enjoy and which areas they enjoy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't mind cutting the lawn for a little while, but I couldn't sit there and do it all day because it would just bore me shitless. Oh, sorry, Mark. There you go. Cut that one out.
Now I'm going to have to put the explicit.
Yeah, I have to do that when someone swears on the podcast. It's like, I don't mind. I love a bit of swearing personally, but yeah, it is annoying.
It makes me laugh. Jane Prone doing her podcast on the ledge. She started doing a few what she's terming as late night ones, where she's getting some of her friends on, and she started swearing on that, and it's just like, oh, Jane doesn't swear.
Jane's far too nice to swear. Oh, I'm gonna have to listen to that.
He's actually quite a potty mouth after listening to those.
Yeah, I think people might be a bit shocked if they heard me when I get going. Yeah.
I think we could all let rip now and again, can't we? The compost woman has just said, get rid of your lawn.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever you do, don't put down plastic.
Oh no. Don't get rid of the lawn and put down AstroTurf, for goodness sake.
Compost woman would absolutely not do that.
No,
I know.
No way. Oh, Chris is coming. Chris, you're going to be on in a few weeks. We'll have to talk about that. Now, I know when Chris Collins comes on, there might be a few explicits, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. That one's definitely getting an explicit label on that.
Well, seeing as how we can't really see Mark anymore.
Yeah, my new lights aren't really doing the job, are they? definitely not Brighton.
It looks like he's in the witness protection scheme.
Yes.
It's like on what was the TV show that they used to have people like that
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I can't think of it.
on the BBC?
Yeah. What was it? One of the like
Crime
police
Watch
ones?
type
Yeah.
thing. wasn't
Oh
it?
God, Crime Watch, bloody hell. So I think maybe it's time for Mark's got a special round for you,
So
Sarah.
we like to finish with a lightning round, Sarah, if you'll
Okay.
indulge us.
All right.
So first question: tea or coffee?
Tea.
Didn't sound very sure.
I wasn't. No, but yeah, I'll come down on tea. Yeah.
Fair enough. Flowers or edibles?
Oh, edible flowers.
Found a way
That's
around it.
and that's quite a few if you dig a bit deeper.
Definitely. Beach or forest?
Forest.
And your go-to emoji in a text message?
I quite often do that one like that.
Hands
Oh
over the eyes.
no!
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could have one snack for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oof.
That's a really tough one. I think it might be. I know what Sophie's going to say. She's going to say jammy Dodgers, but it's not. I would pick peanuts, I think.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Good choice. Still haven't tried peanuts.
Ready salted or salted ones or
Yeah.
dry roasted?
Any, all of them, all the peanuts.
All of them.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Dogs or cats?
Oh, cats.
Finish the sentence. My perfect day would be.
Oh. Oh.
Deadheading pansies.
It would. Do you know what? It really would be. Yeah, or like picking sweet peas and deadheading them.
Oh,
Yeah, it would.
Very therapeutic job, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sweet peas would be lovely with a scent around you all day.
Mm.
Oh, beautiful.
Uh,
You can't even read your book, can
I'm
you?
shook. Sowing seeds or potting on?
Potting on.
Spring or summer?
Spring.
And finally, today's favourite plant?
Achillea.
Oh wow, lovely. Got some.
Nice umberbell.
I got some Achillea there. It was lovely in red, and now it's gone new enough. Looks like it's been bleached. I suppose it has been.
Good for over winter as well. You still get that structure all winter. So it's a really good value plant.
Yeah, they're looking good at the moment, aren't they? So that's why today it would be that.
Perfect. Thank you
Brilliant.
very much.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been really good, really interesting.
Oh no, thank you for having me. I've had a lovely time.
I look forward to keep going through your back catalogue. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. Keep plodding on for
You'll enjoy it when you get to the Ian Bedford ones. Get those nice little snippets.
Yeah.
It's quite hard because I keep jumping backwards and forwards. I should just start at the beginning and go through, but then because I hear Mark talks about one that's happening, just recently, I try and find it. But what I also like, Terry, is that you say if you like such and such, go and see episode 76 or episode. I do like that.
Yeah, that is good.
That is really good.
Yeah, that's a new thing I started doing. I meant to do it for years and I just never got round to it. And it is helpful because there is such a big back catalogue actually now that it's quite useful to direct people to other similar things. So yeah, good. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, it was really good. I think it was a daily as you were talking about the other day, and you said there's about another daily one. Yeah, it's brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much.
You're very
we
welcome.
Can't see Mark. He looks so we better go.
Oh, thank you for having me. Do I have to do anything to go out, or are you just going to chuck me out now?
I'll kick you out, make it nice and easy for you.
Everybody go and have a look at Sarah's podcast. Thanks ever so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. You are actually. Yeah, I have seen it darker before, Mark, but you are really, really dark.
Note to self: my lights are not bright enough. These were new today, so I was just testing them out.
All right.
And
Okay.
yeah, they're not bright enough, Jamie.
Well, I can see. I can't see a thing. You just got a black screen.
It's like you and Joe last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back down to the house so I can finish in the light, so I can actually see to put this on Instagram. Otherwise,
Oh yeah.
I'm losing it.
You'll lose it all forever.
Which we don't want to do.
No, definitely not.
So Sarah was wonderful. What a treat!
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I do love it. I do love her podcast. Like I said, I've only started, I think after 6 or 7, something like that. But it's fantastic when you find a really good one. It just gets you excited.
And just the range of guests that she has. She like she said, she doesn't get the clicky famous people on there. It's all people you've never heard of, but they're talking about things that are so interesting that you just want to know more about what they've been talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely opened my eyes on a lot of different things that she's had on there.
Yeah.
So there's a rather large back catalogue that people can go and check out.
Yeah, definitely get in there. Oh, you can start to see your face. See how it's here.
It might be back down to Jabba from now on.
Yeah,
Nights are drawing in.
Yeah, I'm back in my normal place in front of the extension now.
Or a more substantial light source down at the polytunnel. Yeah, the nights are drawing back in again, aren't they?
I know. It's gone really quick, isn't it? It's gone really quick. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
And it's actually quite warm tonight, whereas a few nights ago it was quite cold, wasn't it?
So my watch says it's 20 degrees, which is nice. I did bring myself a coat. Well, I haven't had to put it on like last week because Jo made it all really cold, didn't she?
It's all Joe's fault.
Jo's fault. Jo just said I can go and deadhead a sweet peas next year. I think I will. I'm going to make a visit to your house next year and do your sweet peas show. Oh, Fell and Flocks Glove. Mark's now going to save it so you can watch it again on Instagram, or it will be converted to a podcast
On
next
Friday.
week.
This Friday morning. It'll be on wherever you want to harvest your podcast from. Amazon, Apple, some other obscure ones that you've never heard of.
Yeah, lots of weird ones. Right, I need to go really because I've been out here since 7.
I was going to say you've been on Instagram since about 7 o'clock. Everyone's sick of the site.
Where it comes up and tells you how long you've been on your phone, it comes up weekly, doesn't it? It's going to look
your
horrible
screen time is increased by 300% this week, Jamie.
I never look at it.
No, neither do I. I just swipe it away.
Yeah, go away. Right. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Go and watch Sarah's podcast, which is called Roots and All. It's brilliant. There's 300, so there's loads to go at.
Yeah. Lots
and
to
of course,
catch up on.
We've got 50 as well. 52 now, I think, isn't it? 53 from today.
Yeah.
So go and have a listen to ours as well. Have a lovely week.
And we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. See you later.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Mark. Thanks, mate.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.